for people who do need to get out and just like I have to separate my work from my home life. I totally get that aspect of I just need to go somewhere. But also, one of the nerd aside, I think internet speeds they gotta up them. We gotta get faster internet. Everybody thinks the internet is already as fast as it can be, and that's not the case. It can get faster. It can get better.
I totally
And
agree.
yeah, and funny you mentioned that. We were in San Francisco where, all the tech companies are and everything, and so the internet speed was really great. And now we're in Santa Cruz, and it's dramatically different. So, completely agree. We have taken a huge hit in internet speed.
You know what? Can we just run a cable from San Francisco to where we live for the internet, please?
Right?
Just want to relive those speeds.
We
Easy
were
enough,
really
right?
wishing for that, yeah. We actually, when we first moved here, we had to rent a hotel for a few days to use as an office while we were getting everything set up because it was a lot more challenging here than in the city. So I think, the further away you get, the more challenging it is.
Welcome, everybody, to the podcast, Casting for Two. As always, hosted by me, Chris. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 427. Wonderful episode for you guys today, for everyone. Of course, message of the podcast, wear a damn mask if you're going to go out in public. Contrary to what people have heard, it's great that people are getting vaccinated. Numbers are going up. Wonderful. The pandemic is still getting shorter and shorter. That doesn't mean that people still aren't getting COVID. So, this is just from me, a person who has no doctorate degree. But if you're going to be enclosed with people, what could the harm do with wearing a mask? That's the nice way of saying, look, I don't want to get any of your germs. I don't want you to get any of mine. This is kind and courteous. What? I'm treating you like a human being? That's crazy. That's almost like the second rule of the podcast, which it is. We all share this world together. Let's be kind and courteous towards each other and show some damn respect. Message of the podcast. Wonderful guests for you all today. They are the trio, two of them, a trio that make up the band Sunset Lines, Liz Brooks and Paul McCorkle. Paul, I'm really sorry if I got your last name wrong. I'm really sorry from the bottom of my heart. This was a very fun chat, but disclosure, this episode was happening on 420 during the trial over George Floyd's death, and we were all awaiting the verdict. So if we kind of go off pace a little bit, it's because we were glued to the proceedings. You'll see. But you know what? I'm done talking because we need to get into this episode, all right? So Liz and Paul, take it away. Hello, Liz and Paul. It's Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, me. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's a mixed bag of emotions going on right now. Yeah, with inside the world right now, I'm not lying. I have the trial verdict on in the background, and I'm just awaiting to see what happens in the the George Floyd murder.
Yep, same here. I think we've all been on the edge of our seat for like the last 45 minutes. I
Yeah.
muted it, but I have it on in the background as well.
Yeah, and obviously I set this up a while ago. Didn't expect, I thought it'd be fun to do a podcast on 420. Uh, a sober podcast on 420, and then, yeah, didn't expect any of this, but hopefully, some good comes out of it. Not
Yeah,
this
I
podcast,
mean,
of course, is gonna. It's always gonna be good. I just mean out in the real world right now. So
yeah, no, of course. I mean, I think if we have to take a break here and cheer, hopefully, I
yeah,
think that's totally understandable. But yeah, no, it's I was thinking about that just for the past hour. Like it's kind of an interesting time to be doing a podcast right now. But here we are.
yes, here we are. Besides all that craziness, how's your morning, afternoon going?
Pretty good. Fortunately, other than this, pretty non-eventful. Paul and I both work from home, so we've been working this morning.
There we go. There we go. Have
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
uh,
no.
no, sorry. Go on.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I mean, other than kind of the major social justice things going on, it's been okay for us. But yeah, like Liz mentioned, just kind of staying plugged in and hoping that justice is served. So,
Yes.
yeah, otherwise a non-eventful day outside of that.
As far as the working from home, have you guys been doing that the entire pandemic?
Oh yeah, I don't
Oh
even
yeah.
remember what the inside of an office looks like at this point.
Yep.
Has it gotten to a point where your work is just like, look, now that we realize that everyone can do this at home, stay at home forever, or is it one of those things where it'd be nice to go back into the office environment for you guys personally?
So I
I
think,
mean, oh, go ahead, Paul.
oh, I was going to say, I think we're both ready to maybe go back a little bit, but I think we don't want to go back to what it was like before.
Yeah.
So we live together, and we used to live in San Francisco, and we recently relocated to Santa Cruz, which is about an
Okay.
hour and a half south. Just given that we weren't going into the office, and now that we're down here, we love it, and we love not having to go into the office 5 days a week. And so we're hoping that when everything kind of gets back to normal, if it gets back to normal, that we don't have to do that more than 1 or 2 days a week. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, quote unquote normal.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever
that
that
looks
is.
like anymore. Yeah.
It's so obviously with the pandemic going on, it's brought to light, as crazy as it's been. It's brought an awareness to where, oh, like big companies, small businesses, all of that, a majority of work can be done from home, and it's just like, why are we spending office money? Like, let's just keep them at home. Why not? Let's save some money here. And hopefully, for people who do need to get out and just like I have to separate my work from my home life. I totally get that aspect of I just need to go somewhere. But also, one of the nerd aside, I think internet speeds they gotta up them. We gotta get faster internet. Everybody thinks the internet is already as fast as it can be, and that's not the case. It can get faster. It can get better.
I totally
And
agree.
yeah, and funny you mentioned that. We were in San Francisco where, all the tech companies are and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and so the internet speed was really great.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're in Santa Cruz, and it's dramatically different. So, completely agree. We have taken a huge hit in internet speed.
You know what? Can we just run a cable from San Francisco to where we live for the internet, please? I just want
Right?
to relive those speeds.
We
Easy
were
enough,
really
right?
wishing for that. Yeah. We actually, when we first moved here, we had to rent a hotel for a few days to use as an office while we were getting
Mm.
everything set up because it was a lot more challenging here than in the city. So
Hmm.
I think, the further away you get, the more challenging it is.
Right, right. And so, one of the things I've been asking people through the pandemic, obviously you guys have been able to work, but have you noticed an uptick in your creativity since the pandemic started?
Paul, I'll let you take it away with this one.
So I would say it's been kind of a bit of an ebb and flow for us,
Hmm.
honestly. I think that we have gone through periods where we've been super creative and we've been recording new songs. We've been recording kind of covers. We've done some music videos, and then there are other points where I feel like just the energy and the creative spark isn't there. And I think a lot of that comes from being around other people and other
Hmm.
musicians. And so that's
Hmm.
been a bit challenging for us. I
Hmm.
mean, it is really nice to have the opportunity to just kind of hole up in our little home studio and work on things. But I think it's really been for us challenging kind of not having our core little group of musicians to play with and bounce ideas off of. And so that's been a pretty interesting challenge that we're not obviously used to dealing with, but we have done a few music videos, and so that's been really fun. Kind of putting the creative juices more towards the visual side of things. But yeah, overall, it's been kind of a wild ride in terms of having periods of productivity and then having periods where just no motivation to do things because we're not playing with people, and so yeah, it's been an interesting year plus.
Yeah, I know. Like when the pandemic first hit and we didn't know how bad things were going to be, like if you could even go outside, things were super scary. So I remember we masked up and put on our gloves and everything. Like if we had hazmat suits, we would have worn those too. But like we
Yeah.
went to our studio at the time, which was in Light Rail Studios in San Francisco, which we were renting our space there. And we pretty much packed as much as we could into our car to like set up this home studio. And like at first, because I think we all thought it was going to be temporary, right? Like 2 or 3 months, and we're
Right.
like, oh man,
Exact.
we're going to be
Yes. Yes.
so creative during this period of time. Like we're going to write a whole new album. And then, we set everything up. And then, a few weeks later, we're sitting there kind of like twiddling our thumbs. And we're like, well, what do we do? And yeah, to Paul's point, I think that's when we couldn't perform. We couldn't do anything else. And we were watching everybody else do like live concerts, like on video and stuff like that. So we started filming covers. And then that kind of led into getting more into like the video side of things and getting more creative doing music videos, which has been really, I mean, we had to finish our album remotely, like
Mm.
collaboratively, mixing and mastering, remotely for the first time. But yeah, it was really interesting doing that on the video side of things. We were able to do one in person, like we went to LA and did things safely there, and then we did just recently another music video remotely as well, where we shot everything ourselves and then sent it over to the director. So yeah, trying to be creative in new and different ways, however we can with what we have available.
It's always funny to think back at uh, when this was starting literally a year ago. When, oh yeah, at 6 weeks we'll be fine. Everything will be back to normal. We're gonna be hanging out. We're just in time for the summertime. It's gonna be fun summertime. And it's just no, no. And
Yep.
no. But I'm glad you guys were able to accomplish everything that you guys were looking to do as far as the new EP goes.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a bit of a challenge, but we were finally able to complete it, and thank goodness that we can now work remotely pretty well with everyone, and thank goodness also from our perspective that we had basically tracked everything at that point that we needed to track live, so we were in a position where we had all the source material, and we just had to kind of finalize it and mix it with the people that we work with for mixing and mastering. And so we were fortunately set up in a position where we could do that and not need to get back into a studio, because like you said, when we first kind of got into this, it was wild and nobody knew what to expect. And so there was no way we were going to go into a studio. And so it's been a bit of a ride, but we're happy it's done and finally ready to come out.
There you go. What was it fun getting to flex some new skills? I know you were mentioning recording yourself for a music video. I don't know if you guys have done that before, but was it fun being able to do something different like that? Just kind of tapping
actually.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we've never done anything like that before. Like we were trying to get into it. Like Paul just mentioned, fortunately we were already done with the recording process of the EP, and we were getting, ready to package it up and get it out there. So we had our director, Frank Dorr, we had already worked out like a music video plan. We were going to go down in April of last year and shoot, and it was going to be this whole thing. And then obviously everything was canceled. So we had to figure out like, oh, what do we do now? And I think we've done our own like album artwork and stuff like that, but it's always, like stills and photography. So this has been our first time working with video, which has been a lot of fun. And I think we find that it has been like the closest replacement that we can find to performing live, so it's kind of filling that hole in a sense, at least for now.
Yeah. Yes. Of course. Yeah. It's good for now, but come on, we got to play live. We gotta feed off the energy off the peeps. I get it. As and do you guys still have the news open?
I've been walking around. Yes.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Oh, thank God. Thank Jesus.
Yeah.
There we go.
Time to open a bottle of champagne or something.
Oh my gosh.
I just pulled up. I pulled up Twitter right now, and the top is that he was found guilty.
Yeah.
And the third item is rot in hell. That's what's trending.
Yes. Well, I just had to wait because I saw some stuff coming in, and I was just, you know what? I don't want to get overly excited. Let me just see, what else is coming in, because I just saw one, but now it's pretty official. So, thank you.
That's awesome. And you definitely have to give it a few minutes and a few tweets before you know it's actually happening.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Well, I'm on USA Today. I was just clicking refresh over and over and over. So, all right. Okay. All righty. But anyway, I'm curious, off the new EP, was there one song, or is there one song that you're looking forward to performing live in front of people?
That's an interesting question. Oh.
I was going to say, I'll definitely let you answer that.
Okay. Yeah, so what's funny is, like, before all of this happened, our last show was January 29th, I think, 2019. And our drummer was moving. So at that point, we're like, how are we going to replace him so we can, like, continue to play live and everything. And now he has left, and now we have moved from the Bay Area as well. So we're trying to figure out what performing live looks like.
Yeah.
Whether that means trying to work remotely with our rhythm section, trying to, and I hate to say this because they're irreplaceable, but to replace our rhythm section, which is Ben and Scott. They're awesome people. Or if we kind of take this in a new route and maybe figure out some drum machines or something like that. But we're currently trying to figure that out. I think, fortunately, we did get to perform all of the songs from the CP live. I think my favorite two are Smoke Signals and Unresponsive, just because they're the closest we have to bangers. Like, they're dance-worthy. It's really fun to perform those live. Yeah. But, yeah, still trying to figure that out right now, actually.
Okay. It's
Yeah,
always... Oh, no, go on.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say I like performing those songs as well. I'm mainly the guitar player for the band, and so Season of the Witch I also really enjoy because I get to use all my pedals, which is the most fun part of being a guitar player.
Yes. More toys.
More toys, exactly.
I've always wondered that, especially during the pandemic. I've talked to a lot of bands, not to brag. I'm just saying, a lot of people get super creative and use a lot of things, and I always wonder, how does that translate? And the answer I get a lot is, we'll see. It's true, come back to us later. We're figuring out. And I'm just, you know what? I totally get it. This is the time to just go nuts and go creative and experimental, and if it lives on on digital and or vinyl and or CD and or tape, then sure, why not? I don't know, it makes it kind of special. But if you guys do crack the code, that's super awesome.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Paul.
No, go ahead, Liz. Sorry.
I was just going to say, sometimes I think when it comes to working creatively, less is more.
Yeah.
Personally, I feel like I'm at my best writing-wise when I'm just by myself in front of a piano. I think likewise, because we've gone through a couple different iterations of the band now. Me and Paul are the founders, but we've gone through a couple rhythm sections at this point, and it was after our first EP that our band kind of went on hiatus. It was kind of the first time that I was just writing songs for myself instead of writing songs for the full band or thinking oh, so-and-so is going to like this song or they'll be able to do this for that song. It was just something completely new and completely different. I didn't have any limitations. And I think that's kind of where the music started going in a different direction to where I started writing the songs that we have on this EP. So I'm hoping that soon this next chapter will start where I can kind of go through a similar process and come up with something completely new for whatever is going to be the third iteration, I guess, of Sunset Lines, and what the future of that music will look like.
Nice.
And that was it.
Okay. No, I'm a huge believer in restriction as well. I come from the film world, and I get the idea of, hey, let's throw money at an issue. And that's cool and all, but does it really help? Do you really need X amount of things? Do you really? No, I'm a person who, the less money I have, the better I feel, because it's just, I have to work harder at doing things, but also use my brain, which, let's be fair, doesn't get used a whole lot. So the fact that I get the juices going is always fun to me. So
I like that analogy. I'll always prefer a low budget horror over a CGI fest.
Oh yeah, sure. Oh yeah, yeah. It's amazing how low budget horror movies they can be so creative when really pushed against the wall. And I think it's always, I don't know why I started watching a lot of horror films, just because I don't know. But yeah, it's just seeing the creative process is something that I just love. It's something magical about it. But I'm curious, once again, curious about the EP. Was there a song on the album that was harder to figure out, whether it was the music or the lyrics just weren't meshing?
Paul, anything stick out to you?
I think for me, Unresponsive, which was the first single that we put out, kind of had kind of a full life cycle. So I produce most of the songs and do kind of a lot of the building of the tracks. And so for that one, when Liz brought it to me, it was one of my least favorite songs, I think, that I had worked with her on initially. I didn't like it at all, and then
That he'd ever heard.
our rhythm section. Yeah, I just not to sound like a jerk, but that was just my initial takeaway. And then our rhythm section came in and kind of gave it a whole new life, and that was like pretty amazing, and got me really excited about it. And then just there was so much I felt like that could be done with it, and there were so many directions that it could go that I spent just countless hours like doing it and then redoing it and redoing it. And so for me, that was the one that was really the most, I guess, challenging. And even though it sounds the most straightforward maybe of most of the songs that we have, I think there was just so much potential in it, and I didn't want to waste it. And it was, it was such an evolution from initially not feeling like it was something that we should, spend time on, to it becoming like the opportunity to be this really cool song. And so for me, that was really kind of the most challenging one that I worked on, and just trying to like pick out the right vibe and the right instrumentation. I think we knew we wanted kind of the 80s synthy vibe with it, but whether it was going to be a little bit more dancey or up tempo, or whether the synths were going to be a little bit darker, like that was all kind of stuff that I needed to figure out and spend a lot of time on. So I spent a lot of time on that one, but ended up being really happy with kind of the way that it turned out in the end. Liz, I don't know if you have your own opinion on a song as well.
I was thinking Season of the Witch, probably, just because of how many different iterations that song went through as well. So Season of the Witch was like originally, I guess it's a ballad, I don't know, but it was like a lot dancier at first. We had a lot of different like electronic instruments, and then I think towards the end, it kind of became, it's the only song on the EP that has like, where I'm playing an actual piano. It's pretty stripped down. Actually, I think one of the most stripped down songs that we have. So, yeah, that one's mine, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah, and maybe to add to that with Season of the Witch, I think musicians are always kind of a little candid or a little reluctant to say what their influences were, just in terms of like pulling from other songs and other artists. But with that one, I had been watching Radiohead videos the night before, and I'm a huge Radiohead fan. And they had a video of them playing, totally blank on the name of the song, but they have a song where both of the guitar players are playing drums, and it's like a really kind of primal drum beat. Hail to the Thief, I think. Or it's off Hail to the Thief. But so they were playing like a really cool kind of drum beat that was like all on the toms, and I was like, this is an awesome beat. And we were trying to go in the next day to record, and so then I was there with our drummer, and I like played the video for him. I'm like, can we do something like this? And he's an amazing drummer, and so he ended up kind of coming up with a riff on that, and that kind of became the driver of that, and then really kind of ultimately drove the feel of it. And the song is there. Took me a moment, but yeah. So.
Why is
To,
it that? Oh no, sorry. Go on.
I was just going to say to go full circle, I was going to say I actually wrote that song during a period of watching a bunch of horror movies myself. So that's what inspired the lyrics.
There we go. You mentioned something about how musicians sometimes don't like to admit where they get the inspiration from. Why is that? And obviously I can't tell you to answer for all musicians. I'm just curious. I've never heard that.
Yeah, well, I think in some sense it speaks to insecurity about not creating kind of your own song, aesthetic, sound, whatever. I mean, I think some musicians wear their influences on their sleeves pretty prominently and are fine with it, and I think others are reluctant to kind of give up that information just because, it's speaking to maybe I'm not able to create this stuff on my own. But I think for me, just, if you like something and it's cool, there's a way to pull from it and bring it into kind of your own musical sphere and spin it in a way that's cool and original. And so hopefully the part I just spoke to doesn't speak too much to Radiohead.
I think there's also the other side, or the other side of the coin where you can be like, oh yes, no, I wanted this song to sound like Radiohead, and I'm specifically thinking about a certain song on the record. And then people are like, oh, we didn't get that at all. It sounds nothing like it. So, yeah, I think...
well, you need to listen again.
Yeah. What do you mean? Can't you tell? Yeah. I think it was... which one was... Oh, Easy to Offend. I also was listening to a lot of Radiohead and was trying to channel that, and it didn't come across at all. But it's its own completely different song now, so... And I think that's a lot cooler than what it was originally supposed to be.
In my limited time of being in a band, I would look at my buddy, because it was just myself and a guitar player, my friend. I'd be like, you know what do you feel like playing today? And then we'd be like, we need a Queens of the Stone Age song. And we would just do that, and there we go. We need a Weezer song. We need a Kings of Leon song. We need a Eagles of Death Metal song. Just all that. And that's how we wrote songs. We were just like, who do we like? Okay, we need that kind of song. Let's do this. And, it was always fun. Even when I write short films, I always assume there's no original idea out there. So I just want to do my own version. And that's, that's just where my brain goes. I'm like, I can bet somebody would say, oh, this is kind of like blah, blah, blah. And be like, that wasn't the intention, but cool. All right. Rock on. But yeah, no, that's
I always find it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I always find it really flattering when someone compares us or music that we're working on to a band that I didn't really even think of.
Yeah.
And then it's a band I really like, and that's always a good feeling. So I imagine it's the same with film.
Yes, I am exactly like Christopher Nolan. You're right. Yes. No, move on. No. But so if there's one thing I love on the podcast, it's a good fail story. And you mentioned gigs, and I'm just wondering if you have a gig fail story.
Oh, we sure do. Paul, do you want to tell them how we met Ben?
Yes. We certainly have a good gig fail story. So about, I guess this is 4 years ago now, when we met the person who was the drummer on this entire EP, who ended up becoming a really close friend of ours. We were playing a show with his band at the time. We didn't know him, and we were 3 or 4 hours early to the show, and so we dropped all of our stuff off, and there really wasn't much for us to do. And so we went to a bar nearby and proceeded to imbibe a little too much on various beers and everything else.
There we
and
go. There
so
we go.
we came back. Yeah, so we came
were
back
the closers, and we had way too much time on our hands, pretty much.
way too much time. Yep. And so, yes, we came back and we played our set, and it's arguably the worst set we've ever played. It was embarrassing at multiple points, and yes, something that we took a good learning from, I think, in terms of like, let's make sure that we don't ever do that again. And fortunately, we never did. But
there we go.
It has a silver lining in that before us, the drummer that we ended up playing with and his band played, and he was amazing. And so I ended up reaching out to him via email, and he joined our band. And so apparently he didn't think we were so terrible that he didn't want to play with us, but it was certainly a big fail from our perspective.
There was a lot of embarrassment and apprehension involved in hitting send on that email, and then it took him a few days to get back to us, and we're like, oh yeah, we sucked royally. You know how like when you're doing good on stage and you look at your band members and you're like, oh yeah. We, like, Paul and I had that moment. It was like 30 seconds into the first song where we both looked at each other and we're like, oh no. Like, we both knew we had made a huge mistake.
Yeah.
And we had 35 minutes more to go. So
what if it was actually an awesome show?
I'm pretty certain it was.
Okay. All right.
We've had a lot better shows.
Gotcha.
We were in that stage where I would say that we were compromised enough that the playing wasn't good, but we were not so compromised that we thought the playing was good, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure it was probably not a great show.
But you know what? Like you guys said earlier, at least some good came out of it. You know, there's no bad playing shows. I don't know. There's no bad publicity, but I don't know if it's bad shows. I don't know. They need to make a saying for that because I don't know what I'm talking about now. But still, I'm glad it worked out how it worked out for you guys.
Yes, no, it was ultimately it was a really great thing because we made a lifelong friend. Like he's going to come to our wedding party in a few months, and he unfortunately had to leave the Bay a few months ago, but he's going to be a friend for life. So fortunately, he didn't take our terrible performance against us.
There you go. For the people at home who would like to check out the EP, music videos, or just keep up with you all online, where can they do all that?
So we are at Sunset Lines Band on both Twitter and Instagram. Definitely more present on Instagram. We don't do too much on Twitter. And then we have our own YouTube channel as well. Paul, I'll let you speak to that, where we already have one music video posted, and we're getting ready to release another for Season of the Witch.
Yep, and that's just Sunset Lines Band as well on YouTube. And so we have the video for Season of the Witch coming out on Friday. And hopefully more content to come in the future as we're hopefully making more videos.
Nice. I'm excited for everyone to listen to the EP. I was listening to it. I listened to it when I got it, and then I was re-listening to it today. And I remember when I first sent the email, I was, it was like a minute into the first song. I was like, yes, I'll talk to them right now. And then just re-listening to it this morning, I was just, oh, of course, this is why I said yes, because it's great. And I think that, the whole EP is great, and I'm looking forward to hearing more from you guys, and also seeing if you crack the code on the live performances, because I'd like to see you guys for sure.
Oh, well, thank you. We will, we'll keep you posted, or follow us on social media to find out.
There we go. Paul, Liz, thank you so much for chatting with me. I'll let you go back and enjoy some champagne and continue to stay safe and stay healthy. All right.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Chris. Pleasure chatting with you.
Thanks for having us on, Chris. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. The pleasure's all mine. But again, have a wonderful rest of your day.
All right. You too.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Thanks so much. Okay.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.